Now, alopecia areata is the other type. So you've heard about telogen effluvium. Now we're going to talk about alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is really common. About 2% of the population have alopecia areata. And these are what we call the cone-shaped. These are the type of hair loss that you see that people have little circular patterns of hair loss, like here, a little circumscribed area here, or little patches, or you can lose your hair completely. You can lose your eyelashes, you can lose your eyebrows. You can have what's called alopecia universalis, where you lose your hair in your whole body. So this disorder, it's an autoimmune disorder. It can be associated with other autoimmune disorders as well. So this is very important. In these type of patients, we usually have to do a scalp biopsy and to try to correct it. But it's also treatable. We treat them with injections, and there's a lot of other medications that we can do for this type of hair loss. Now, one that you all probably recognize, it's anagen effluvium. Anagen effluvium is the type of hair loss after chemotherapy, for example. And those patients, the good thing of it is that their hair will all grow back. And in some of them, their hair grows back different. It grows curly or darker and thicker, but they do get their hair back. And this is the anagen effluvium, where they have complete hair loss from chemotherapy. And of course, also, we should not forget a lot of people with trauma or traction, like if you pull your hair too tight, a lot of, in the African Americans, where they do those tight braids on their kids and pull their hair, eventually over time, this continuous traction can affect the hair follicle, destroy the hair follicle, and they will develop areas of hair loss over there. So that's important. Trauma, traction, any infection in the scalp can cause hair loss. So how about the psychological effect? And this is where I started. And most of you raised your hands when I asked how many of you have had hair loss at some point in your life. Because what has been found in a lot of these studies is that females are more affected than males. And if we look at the chart here, 70% of women, where's my pointer here? 70% of women are extremely upset about their hair loss, while only 28% of men or males are extremely upset. And that's where the difference is, because for men, they think it's more common to walk around and have hair loss. But for women, it's extremely devastating. And that's why we have to pay attention when there's a problem with hair loss in women. They develop poor self-esteem, less control, problems with social interaction. Now, let's look at some myths. How many of you have heard that hair loss comes from the mother's side of the family? Right? That's not true. It comes from both parents. It can come from the father or the mother. Hair loss affects only men. How many of you thought that was true? You know, okay. Women only lose their hair after pregnancy or during menopause. We've looked today that that's also not true, that there's a lot of different causes of hair loss in women, not only menopause. So stress and weight loss is the only cause of hair loss. We just realized that it isn't. Teasing, using hair color, hairspray, or frequent hair washing will increase their hair loss. That's really important. A lot of patients that come in, sometimes they come in with their hair very greasy.